Hey guys, I'm Jules. It's time for another stitch along. It is October 7th, I believe. Saturday night, actually. And today's piece is going to be the Saturday Evening Post Pilgrim and Football Player cover from 1928 or something like that. I'm going to link it down below in the description. So you guys, if you guys are interested or want to see what it looks like, feel free. It's hard for me. I don't have a printed out picture of it that looks decent. I want to say it's copyright covered, or I'm not 100% sure, but whenever I've tried to print it out, I've never been allowed to actually download a picture and print it out. So I just love it. It's vintage football. It's sort of like it's a Thanksgiving cover where it pits like a pilgrim against like a football player, and the football player is wearing like what they wore back in the 20s with the minimalist padding and helmets and whatnot. So but that's what I'm working on. This fabric is a 14 count Ada. It's like a oatmeal color or something along those lines. You can see sort of I'm on my second page. Oops, sorry, there you go. Sorry, guys. So it's and then the S of Saturday, and then E and a V here. This is the pilgrim's hat is right here, and so it's a little hard to see right now, but as time goes by, you guys are going to start to see the awesomeness of this project, and I think more and more people will really start to really like it an awful lot. So I'm going to actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk to you guys while I reposition the fabric, because, have I not? Let me look. Boom, boom, boom. I'd like to do a little bit more. Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and just shift the fabric here for a second. I'm going to turn my pattern over so y'all can't see it. But, so, we just got back from watching Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner. And I got to tell you, I wasn't all that thrilled about going to see it. I just really was, I saw the original Blade Runner, and I'm like, yeah, that's a really good movie. But I was never a big fan. I do like Harrison Ford movies and whatnot, and I do like sci-fi. And I thought, well, my husband was really excited to see it, and one of our friends was also really excited to see it. So we met up and saw it on this big IMAX theater screen, and the movie's like 2 hours and 40 minutes long or something, and I'm like, I'm going to fall asleep during this movie. I just know it, because I'm a sucker for falling asleep during movies that you'd think I wouldn't fall asleep at. And I got to tell you, I really liked it. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to talk about all the particulars. But I would say that if you enjoyed the first one, you will enjoy this one. If you enjoy old school sci-fi, and if you do, you've probably seen Blade Runner, you should go see this one. It is very thought-provoking, and it is very, let's make sure I don't show the pattern. My pattern fell down. It's just very thought-provoking and quality, super quality. I really liked it, so... Good stuff. All right, let us start a stitching. So I'm going to start right down here. I hope the lighting's good. I changed up my lighting a little bit this time around. So I hope you have your favorite project working on with me. I love it when people are like, yeah, I stitched on my stuff, and since you were stitching, I got work done on my project too. That is awesome. That is very cool of y'all to say that. All right. So before we went to the movie, we had to run over and take care of our one lone beehive that's separate from the rest of the beehives. That's over in this location, sort of southwest of Denver, and we had to go do some work on it. So I worked a little bit today, and then we ran over there about midday and went over and I think I should do it this. How should I do this? I'll just go down this way. And went over the bees, took care of those guys, and then ran up to, because it's not that far away, ran up to a stitching shop, which is in, I think, I want to say it might be in Denver proper, considered Denver proper. I'm not 100% sure on that. It might be Arvada or even Lakewood. Not 100% sure, but it's not that far away from where we were. So, and I've been itching just to get over there. I just want to get over there and look through some projects. And because what I've decided is that, I like the feeling of finishing things, framing things, and putting them up on the wall, all that. And these big pieces are just going to all take a really long time. So if I don't have some smaller things to take my focus off of these big things every once in a while, then it's going to be tough. So, and I also wanted to find some projects, for my mom and for my husband's parents, and see if there was anything out there. And found a few things. Also found a couple things that I especially liked and that I'm going to stitch for me. And I'm not going to tell you what those things are, but I'll show them in my next video coming up this week. 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, there we go. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Denver is supposed to get a snowstorm Sunday night, Monday, most of the day Monday, which is funny. We'll see if it actually happens. It's kind of notorious here in Colorado that the forecasters try their darndest but get it wrong more than they get it right. So, supposedly all the models are lining up to say that we are getting a storm, and that storm, the snow should extend down to where we are, and we could get as much as 6 to 8 inches. And yep, it's possible. We'll see. Nobody cancels. I mean, really, we've all learned not to cancel anything. It's not like, like, oh my gosh, I better close work down, or I better not go out to do this or that. You just go ahead and do those things, and if you can't make it out that day, then you can't make it out, but odds are you're still going to be able to make it out. So I think how long have I lived here now? I moved here a month before 9/11. So I lived here for 16 years, and in those 16 years, I think maybe there's only been twice have I not been able to get to work of any job that I've had. So, so we should be fine. But it'll be pretty. It'll be so pretty. I love the stitch. I've always historically, like, whenever it snows, I get so much stitching done on those days. I just cannot help myself but to stitch. It's like the perfect winter weather activity. You notice I'm wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey, and they're my second favorite team. And specifically, I have a hockey team, if you don't know. I have a, whoops, hold on. Just gotta make sure I know exactly where this one is supposed to go. Right, alright, there we go. And I'm wearing, it's an Austin Matthews. For one, number 34 is like my favorite jersey number. Walter Payton wore it for the Bears, so I love it. And number 2, it's Austin Matthews' jersey. So Austin Matthews is this young American kid. He's like 19, who grew up in Phoenix, of all places, and may turn out to be the, we'll see. We've got a long way to go, but he could end up being the best American-born player there ever was. We'll see. But I watched, I was very, very interested after seeing him pick first in the draft, because he just seemed like he was just so businesslike, and he says, like, I'm just going to be the best. And then his very first professional game last year, in the first game of the season, he scored 4 goals in the first 2 periods. And that's just unheard of for your first game to do that. And so I was like, oh my God, I got to get a jersey. So I got me a jersey. Canadian neighbors are moving. You guys might remember, if you're old if you're an old watcher of mine, if you've been around for a while, I talked about Canadian baby being born. Mom's American, dad's Canadian, so he's of mixed heritage, so to speak. He has dual citizenship, and they're moving. I'm so sad because they're cool, they're nice, and so the baby is, I don't know, how old is he now? Like 4 months, 5 months old or something like that. I went and saw him. Oh my god, he's so cute. Well, most babies are cute, aren't they? All babies are cute. Let's just say that. All babies are cute, like all puppies are cute. All kittens are cute. Alright, so we got that part done. Alright. Let's see, let's go up here. The light looks really good in this when I'm doing it, but live, for me looking at it, doesn't look great, but I've got a light on like straight up, and then I've got another light on kind of behind me a little bit, so it actually looks quite good. So I think I'll keep that arrangement going forward. Well, forgot. I'm gonna tie it off. Ooh, I almost bought, when I was at the stitching shop today, a little mini kit that had like some bees and a honey hive and whatnot, and it was I don't remember who made it, but it was one of those that was really adorable, but it had beads in it, so I would have to learn how to put beads into a project. And you know what? I chickened out and I didn't get it. I'm just like, you know, my fear is not that I wouldn't be able to do it. It's that I would do it and I would love it so much that I would end up buying like all these patterns that everybody loves so much that have all the beads and stuff in it, and then I would be like on this new obsession. And I don't need another new obsession. I really don't. I have too many as it is. And cross stitching is number 1. Sports are number 2, in case you couldn't tell. So we got hockey, we got football. 2, 3. Uh-oh. Did I say uh-oh? I didn't mean to say uh-oh. 1, 2. 1, 2. And here. When I was at the theater, I drank like this big gigantic thing of Diet Coke, and then like ridiculously huge thing of popcorn. And I just feel weird now. Like I just ingested too much, I don't know, junk food. I haven't been used to that as of late. Oh, I also have a video game obsession that has fallen by the wayside because of all my other obsessions. So, do you guys see the pattern down here? This is a one of my Gecko Rouge projects that it's kitted in a sense, like I bought it all in one big one big kit from it came from Surrey, England. I'm not sure if it's Surrey or Devon. So I think Shelley out there, if you're watching, I think you're from Devon, and this place was from Surrey. And I don't know exactly how close those two places are to each other. But anyway, so Gecko Rouge UK, wonderful shop on Etsy. And they have, a lot of modern type images. And when I say modern, what I'm talking about is a lot of crazy colors, a lot of sharp angles, a very eclectic looking things, but very eye-catching too. And so I do want to, what I actually need to do is, are they up here? I can't reach them from here. I'm not going to get up and get them. But I've got the little floss bags, because mostly when I kit up a kit like this, I actually, I bobbinate everything, right? A bobbinator. and I bobbinate it. And what I'll do is I have my floss box, and I just, I put everything in numerical order, and I just put everything in there. However, there's so much floss because there's only so many colors, and it came with so much floss already from it that I think it's going to be easier for me just to put them in bags and label them. And once I've gotten that done, then I might actually start. I don't think I'm going to start this one per se. I've got one that's a dachshund. And what I might do is in the second half of this video is pull it out and stick it there so you guys can look at that too. But I might do that. 1, 2. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Joe. Oh no, I'm fine. Okay. Whew. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. We also watched last weekend, and I don't think I talked about it, Passengers. Is that the name of the movie? It was Passengers. It had Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt in it. And I never really had a strong desire to see that movie because it didn't look like it was a very strong movie. Like I didn't quite know what it was and whatnot. And honestly, when it came down to it, it was the trailer. The trailer really made the movie look like something that it wasn't. And that was easy to figure out pretty quickly. But, this usually means I probably need to pull out some more floss when I start pulling these things out. What it is, it's a romance. It's a romance in space. That's all it is. And, it's a romantic drama. It happens to be set in space, and that's pretty much it. So if you like Chris Pratt, whatever his name is, if you like him, like I do, because the guy's adorable, but or Jennifer Lawrence, and you like romance, totally just go see it or rent it or whatever, watch it on Netflix or whatever it's on at this point, because it's not what I would call a sci-fi movie. It just happens to be set in sci-fi, but it's... Oh, hello. Mr. Floss. Over here. So... I'm also watching Ken Burns' documentary about the Vietnam War. That was on a few weeks ago, and I recorded all the episodes, and I'm only on episode 5, and I think there's 10 total. I can only watch so much of that at a time. It is so difficult to watch, and I was born in 1972, so I missed all of that contention and civil strife and whatnot, and it doesn't feel like it is, we're not back in that kind of mode again as a world or a country or anything, but in terms of just the acrimony that's out there, it does feel kind of like that a little bit, and it's very eye-opening in so many ways. In school, I'm a big fan of history. I was a history minor in college, and I love military history. I've taken classes about Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War II, and I've done a lot of reading on World War I, and but I never really cared about Korea, and I never really cared about Vietnam, and I think because it was a more ambiguous war. It was more of you could theoretically object to certain things about it, and it wasn't as seemingly black and white as other wars had been in the past. And so and in school they never taught it. It was never taught. In high school we never got to, I think we got to World War II, and then that would be where the year always ended, was in World War II or just after World War II. And when I was in college, one of my upper level history classes I took for my minor was the world since 1945. And this was 1945 to like 1993 or 4 or something like that. And even that, just blew past the Korean War and blew past Vietnam and didn't really talk about it. It focused mostly on sort of the European American bent, but more domestic than anything. And when I think back on it, I'm like, man, that class really. I mean, that could have been a year-long class, but it was just like a quarter, and that's what it did. But it didn't. I just never. So I never learned anything. I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't know anything. And so this has been eye-opening and just saddens me in so many ways. But I'm one of those that I feel like if Kim Burns puts out a documentary, I gotta watch it because I love his work. And I think I've seen every documentary he's done. My favorites. He did one on, and it's so funny because you probably have never heard of this, but he did one on the first person to drive the length of San Francisco to like the East Coast. And I can't remember if it was Boston or New York or whatever it was, but it was a West Coast to East Coast in a car in the early 1900s. And there was this big to-do and this big race about who would be the first to do it. And it's a story that just I had never heard about and I didn't know anything about. And I really, really enjoyed his... All right, so watch me fudge this. So I will do this. So what happened is I misplayed my stitch here when I was going from lower left to upper right. That upper right hole, I cut it short. So when I finished my X, it left literally a hole in the project. And I can't have that. So I went back and I just stitched over a full cross stitch over the previous cross stitch. No one's going to know but you and me. And you're not going to tell anybody, right? All right. Nobody's going to be able to tell. It's all fine. It's all fun and games until somebody stabs themselves with a needle. But, so anyway, so I like that one. I liked the Civil War one is very eye-opening. It tells the story of the Civil War from all, he always presents all sides when he's presenting a story. And the Civil War one was very eye-opening and very distressing in a lot of ways, but it was so well done. So well done. His World War I and World War II documentaries were amazing. He did one on the national parks that I actually enjoyed more than I thought I would. It's several hours long. But the one that I watched that I felt like I was going to have to force myself to watch was the one he did on jazz. And the jazz documentary it's so long. I want to say it's like 20 hours or something. I did not realize that the history of jazz was so deep and so dense of a topic. And, I do love jazz. And I don't have any specific people that I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to listen to that person. I don't listen to any real modern jazz. I like the old school stuff. And and I have to be honest, I think when I got into the 70s and 80s of the jazz scene, I kind of skipped over some stuff because it wasn't as interesting to me. So, but it's so good. Then he did one on the history of radio. That was very interesting. Honestly, you could just go to like Netflix or PBS and probably find all his work. You should be able to find all his work because all his work is amazing. Well, what am I doing? Julie, what are you doing? All right, here we go. 1, 2. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Cheerios. Boom. Okay. So, I think this is a good time to go ahead and stop part 1. Because of my camera's limitations, I can only record a video of a certain size. And so that size, I'm starting to come upon that size here in a minute. So I should just go ahead and wait when I needle this, thread that. So I'm gonna put that in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and pause. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out a little bit more of the floss that I need, so that's ready for us. And I'll be back in just a second. I'm gonna change this out though, so you guys have something else to watch. So hold on. Hello again. We're back. So you can see I changed it. So there's the dachshund, if you guys can see it. That's this multicolored dachshund. So cute. So cute. Alright. We're back. I'm actually doing this instead of watching hockey right now, which is crazy. But I might actually just stay up here once I'm done with this part, and hold on. Oh, no. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I didn't need to do this. I just gotta go back here. Very cool. And like just about every team is playing tonight, so there's a lot of hockey to watch. But I've got the hockey package. So the good thing is that one of the cool things they do is they do like a condensed version of the game that lasts like 10 minutes where they just show all the highlights. And I'm not talking just about like the scoring, but they'll show like great plays, they'll show big hits, they'll show, you know, meaningful moments in the game. So you really feel like you're in there. But I gotta watch the Blues game. I'll watch the Toronto game. Maybe I'll watch them tomorrow. But it's all good. Okay. This one here. I'm just always when I'm doing these big pieces, you always have to double check, you know, on all different sides. Like, oh, am I truly on the right square? Because if you don't, you're gonna regret it. You're just gonna regret it. But I plan on stitching all day tomorrow. I thought about doing apothecary shop, but apothecary shop is so stiff that it's difficult for me to kind of literally get my arm around it. And not difficult, just more cumbersome. And I think it makes more noise. It kind of shuffles it and whatnot. You know, it just, you know, and I just didn't want that to be a distraction. Where am I? Where am I? Oh, here we are. But it's all good. So, thought about doing this stitch along Sunday morning, but I told you guys last time, I'm like, I really shouldn't do this in the mornings. And with the way my football Sundays go, I tend to watch the early games avidly. Like, I'm just every play, I'm just all about it. And then when the afternoon games come on, I'm usually not as into it. I'm kind of footballed out at that point. And naps are possible. Although tomorrow there's a lot of good games on, so I might end up watching all day. But I gotta fit the hockey in. I mean, I'm gonna fit hockey in the morning, that's for sure. I'll probably, we actually put a TV in the bedroom, which I've never had a TV in the bedroom my entire life. So we put a TV in the bedroom, and honestly, we watch like, my husband will watch like some old school anime, or we'll watch YouTube videos of people putting a house together, putting like a rugged outdoorsy hut together by hand, and now lately we've been watching hockey. We tried to fall asleep with hockey the other night. I could not do it because of just all the up and down crazy crowd noises and stuff, so I couldn't do it, so I had to turn it off finally. But uh-oh, Cheerios. Oh, found it. Thankfully not by stabbing myself. I lost my needle. Did I tell you guys about my Cafe Press t-shirt shop? I didn't tell you in this video, but I told you about it last video. And I'm contemplating a design that says something like, my stitchy chair is where my needles go to die, or where my needles are never heard from again, or, because I mean, I'm telling you, if you put a metal detector on this piece of furniture in particular, I mean, I guarantee you there's over a dozen needles lost in these arms. Guarantee you. Guarantee. All right, Jules, where are we? Where are we? Do. Wow. All right. Ah. Come on. I stitched a lot on Thursday. That was my day off. I did really well with that. Got a lot of stitching done. And I don't think I took a nap, which is crazy. Because I've been doing a little too much of that. I used to do a lot more of it. My first videos, or my middle videos, like, I don't know, like around number 20 to number 30 or something like that, I talk about how I was always taking naps. Well, my thyroid was all messed up. I've been hypothyroid. I've been diagnosed for years, but my thyroid was out of whack, and so they adjusted my dose up a little bit. And since they did that, I hardly ever take naps. I mean, I still take them every once in a while, but I hardly ever take them now that I got my thyroid fixed, which is awesome because it's so many more hours to stitch. It's so cool. Oh, and the other thing that I discovered. So I'm not a coffee drinker. Never have been. Love the smell. Love the smell of coffee. Would totally buy a candle with the smell of just plain Folgers coffee. I love it. However, never really liked the taste at all. And so, is this correct? Ooh, I pulled 3 strands out. Let's not do that. Put that back here. Never, I mean, I've tried it a handful of times over my life, and I just never enjoyed it. No matter how much cream and sugar somebody added to it, the coffee taste was something I couldn't get over. However, I tried pumpkin spice latte from McDonald's recently. Hold on a second. 3, 4 here. And I liked it. It still had a bit more of a coffee taste than I would like, but the pumpkin really kind of smooth that out, and the spice and whatnot. So that was, and it was iced, so that all helped it go down better. But I finally broke down and bought one of those single glasses of Starbucks Frappuccino s'mores flavor. Now, if you've had that, you know where I'm going with this. That is a dangerous drink. That is a dangerous drink because you will become addicted. Now, I'm proud of myself because today I opened it up for the first time and drank, and I only drank maybe about 1/5 of it, and then I stopped. And I was quite proud of myself because it was like candy. It was like chocolate milk, and I was like, yeah. And I didn't get as much of a buzz off of it as I thought I would. I mean, I definitely was more alert today, I think, than normal. But than normal, like I'm out all the time. But I definitely feel like I could get used to those, which is just dangerous. But like I said, I'm not gonna. I don't want to start going to Starbucks. That is an addiction waiting to happen with me, I'm sure, because I have an addictive personality. If you haven't noticed by my cross stitching, I have an addictive personality, and I just do not want to get myself started in that. That's a steep hill to go down. Steep downward hill. Steep slide. Downward slide? You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway. I'm like looking at this and I'm thinking down here, I'm like, why isn't that connected to that? What am I missing? What did I do wrong? Because gosh knows I did something wrong. 1, 2, 2. Oh, that's supposed to be 2 and that's supposed to be 1. Phew! You probably were staring at the whole time going, I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong. And you would be correct about that. 4, 3, 1, 2. Whew. I'm getting dizzy, switching my head back and forth. I'm also getting hot because I can't have a fan on while I'm doing this video. And this jersey is a little warm, but I feel like I gotta wear something cool. I have 3 jerseys, 3 hockey jerseys. I have 1 football jersey, and we've seen that. That was the Bears one. But I have a St. Louis Blues jersey. That's my number 1 team. I have this jersey, my number 2 team, and number 3 team is the Colorado Avalanche, and I have a player off of that. And so, and that's all I have so far. So, I think that's pretty good. Up, down here. Don't ask me why that's down here. There'll be a similar color that, that will fill it in. Pink. Alright. You can see how eclectic this A looks right now. It's very eclectic looking. It's not your normal A. Alright, we're going to go over here and fix this thing. We're going to put this here. And we're going to put another one below it. And voila. Booyah, as they say nowadays. Alright. Hot diggity dog diggity. Now I definitely have room. We start working on the T over here. Bum, 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 bum. I was happy I went to the stitching store today. Christine that runs the stitching store was in there, and I walked in with my husband, and there was nobody else in the store at that time because it was, mid-afternoon, and I think Saturday afternoons they're maybe not as busy. They tend to, when I've been there at opening, they tend to get a rush right at opening. But it was kind of funny because she gave me this look. I hadn't seen her in a couple months, and she just gave me this look like, holy cow, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, we're in the neighborhood. And I felt like I needed to swing by and take a look. And I was glad I did, because I definitely saw a few things that I liked. Well, I saw a lot of things that I liked, but I only got a few things. And I didn't kid him up while I was there. I told her, I was like, I'm going to hold on to these patterns. I just wanted to, I'm going to get some good patterns that I love, and then I'll ask you to get everything ready for me later. So, because what I normally do is if I don't necessarily want to go through the trouble of finding the right size fabric and cutting it and serging it and all that stuff, I'll just have her do all that for me. And I'm always assured of a quality job because she's awesome. And I also picked up, I could show you this. I also picked up some weeks dye work thread. I know you guys have seen this, but I needed this for the project I did last week, my prayer for St. Francis. So it's this grapevine that I had talked about, I needed, but I'm actually already almost through what I bought. So I don't know for sure that I'm going to need it before the end, but since I was there, and I either get it from her over at that store or I have to order it from an Etsy shop, and I'd rather buy it from her. And so I went ahead and got the 2 colors that I've used the most on that. And I got some more needles. And but I was glad I remembered to do that, because that way I can definitely continue work on these projects. So this is the tea of Saturday. With the weather turning, it's been just so nice to sleep at night. I'm a cold weather sleeper. I struggle when it's hot. I have to have a fan on me or the air conditioning or something. I have to have something cold on me. And then when it's cold, then we've got a heated mattress pad that we use instead of an electric blanket, and that is awesome. All right, I think. All right, I'm just going to go over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go back up here and just go over. My husband said that he's like, you could bring your stitchy glasses to the movie theater, and because it has a little LED light on the top of it. And you could bring the stitchy glasses and magnifiers, and you could work on a project while you're there, and nobody would know. And I'm like, well, nobody would know until I looked down and looked up and looked down and looked up, and I'm sure somebody in my row would object to it. Now I could sit in the far back, and as long as nobody sat in the same row as me, then I could totally stitch while I'm there. But what he said was, he's like, nah, he's like, wait till you're old and retired, and you can go to those matinee movies, and I'm sure people knit at. We were watching a hockey game the other night. I think it was St. Louis Pittsburgh game the other night when St. Louis beat them in overtime, and there was a woman behind the coaching, behind the bench, right where the coach was standing, and she was working on her knitting, and my husband was like, "Is she, what is she doing?" I'm like, "Well, she's knitting." I mean, you don't have to, the good knitters, experienced knitters, do not need to watch what they're doing. I mean, there they go. They just go. Now, we have to watch what we're doing, because otherwise we make mistakes. I don't know about you, but that's what happens to me. But anyway, it was kind of funny. Thought that was awesome. I'm so jealous when I see people do that. I was thinking, where was it? I was thinking that I should bring my cross stitch too, but I haven't had the guts yet. Where was that? Oh, like a sports bar when we're watching football games. I've actually done it a couple times at this new one that we go to, because they have these nice big tables, and there's a lot of room, and if I wanted to sit there, but it's funny how I can only stitch for long periods of time when I'm at home. I get way too distracted when I'm everywhere else, so I'd much rather just do this at home. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I have a hard enough time focusing when I'm at home anyway. With the dogs. With the doogs. Yeah, I'm probably going to go downstairs or stay up here. I haven't decided. When I'm done with this, put the video together, edit it a bit, and then go ahead and upload it tonight. And it sounds like it's raining outside a little bit, but I don't think it was supposed to. Go do that and then go downstairs and maybe watch some hockey. Although I could also literally just sit up here and do everything I need to up here and actually just get a ton done while I'm sitting here. I keep forgetting to make sure that I'm in your view. I start to get selfish with my view. No, you can't see what I'm doing. You know, you see all these retreats, these stitching retreats, which are awesome ideas. But I'll be perfectly honest with you, like, if I go to these retreats, I know I'm going to end up just chit-chatting and talking and whatnot. And the whole time I'm going to be like, I should be stitching. I should be stitching. I've got time to stitch. I should be stitching. And I don't know if I'll do that. I don't take a lot of time off. And what little I do take, I like to take it with my husband. We are, still fairly newly married. I mean, it's been a little over a year. We're gonna go on our honeymoon next year. We're gonna go to an Alaskan cruise. So that should be a lot of fun. I've never been on a cruise, never been to Alaska. We're gonna end up going to, I think we're gonna be in Canada for one port stop. And because of that, we're getting passports. Actually gonna get everything done this week for those. We got our pictures taken last night for it, and we're gonna get the rest of it done on Thursday, I think, and I'll get a passport. I've never had a passport before, which is really cool. But we've wanted to go check out Canada for a while. We like Canadian culture. Canadian people are awesome. Want to go to Toronto sometime. Might see the Maple Leafs play, maybe. But also just might go to the Hockey Hall of Fame. The Hockey Hall of Fame is there. So that is actually definitely a trip on the bucket list, so to speak. 3, 3, 2... Getting close to being done here, folkses. So you better start stitching faster if you're trying to get done while I'm working. I'm sitting here planning out what I want to do tomorrow, stitching wise, in my head. It's how I help myself fall asleep at night. As I literally think about what stitching projects that I should work on next and what kind of progress I might get done. And for whatever reason, it just soothes me down, and that's usually like the last thing I think about before I go to sleep. So it makes me happy. My husband is the type that can fall asleep in like 30 seconds. I'm so jealous. It takes me so long to wind my brain down. And maybe if I stitched right up to the time I go to bed, it might be better. Oh, man. Neck's getting a little stiff. No worries, though, folkses. No worries. 2, 3... This is gonna just be awesome. It's gonna just be awesome. I just love this pattern. I know I wax on about it, but I'm just like, I'm telling you, it's beautiful, and it's gonna be so gorgeous when I get to a certain point where I can really show it off. Of course, what was that? Dog's barking. I'm always like, is that my dog? Is my dog out? One of my dogs. You never know. And that's the dogs. You can't hear them, but they're downstairs barking at each other. Coming along nicely. Alright, I'm going to do one more little bit here. 4, 3, 3. I'll finish out this thread. Put this together. Put it up on the YouTube. I think that will end my night with you guys. It's not going to end my stitching night because I got so much to do. So much I want to do. So I'm just going to keep on stitching. Keep on stitching. Keep on stitching. A little bit more. This will be my last row. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me again. Uh-oh. That's never a good sign. That's a sign that I definitely should think about being done. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me and for stitching along. I hope you made some progress on whatever you're working on, and I hope that you don't stop stitching when I turn this video off and find somebody else to go watch. So many great floss tubers out there. So many varieties. Have fun. But I'm going to tie this thing down, tie it off, show you where I'm at. Look at that, guys. So we got the S was pretty much done. The A is pretty much done. And the T is almost done. And I'm going to have a whole lot more done on this before Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, my weekly update video. I'm going to have a lot more done on this, I think, because I'm motivated to keep stitching on it. So you guys have a good night, good rest of your weekend, happy stitching, and I will see you later. Take care.